to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah, I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming?
And welcome everyone to the Man Cave. My name is Paul Knapp, and I will be your host for tonight's show. This is season number 1, episode number 12, and waiting in the green room is our special guest, Mr. Ken Ciak, owner and operator of LOD Toy Soldiers. So we are looking forward to having him on. And before we get started with that, let me introduce my panel for tonight. Batting first, playing catcher, number 21, the Padre himself, Stacy Armstrong.
Hey, hi guys. Glad to be here tonight.
I went with the baseball theme tonight. What do you think? You all right with that?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Pretty good.
Right.
Acceptable.
And batting second, playing right field, number 10. We call him Big Sexy, but you know him as Rick Bradshaw.
That's me.
Sexy.
Heidi ho, everybody.
Big Sexy. And they call him Mr. Canada. He's batting third, playing first base, number 5, John Salatellis.
Hey, John.
Everybody.
Although he's got the wrong sport hat on right now. But that's okay.
I didn't get the memo.
And batting
Trade
cleanup,
him.
playing pitcher tonight. He's on the mound for us tonight. He's the left-hander, number 13. The
Oh, he's a lefty.
toy photographer man himself, Mr. Joe Baker.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Joe.
That's a pretty good lineup we got for tonight. Not to mention our man in the bullpen, Mr. Ken Ciak.
Oh, yeah.
So hey, man, glad to have everybody here tonight. I'm going to go around the room and say what's new in your zoo, kind of like I do on Monday nights. Although I knew 2 of you guys, we're still getting you to try to convert to the 132nd scale. It's not going to happen, huh, Stacy?
I'm not falling for your fan of the tail bite.
Tell him, Joe, once you go down that rabbit hole, man, it's
Oh, boy. I just came back from the Midwest Toy Soldier Show, so I don't know what you can see over there, but
Let me pull you up first. Yeah.
Details. Ooh.
Wow.
that shelf is things up top is the Spira Alamo Defenders,
Yep.
Oh,
3D printed, all of them. Yeah.
yep, 3D, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
and then down here I haven't got them unloaded yet, but is all of Warhorse miniatures, Mike Prendergast's
Yep.
3D printed stuff. Have the Saxon Potter Shop, Norman Crossbowman, Pig Farm, Saxon Huscarls, Civil War. So a bunch of all sorts of stuff I'm anxious to get out. And then a couple Papa Joe buildings
Nice.
and stuff that's not really unpacked yet. Some Larry Patterson stuff in the bag and some Mars German Volkstrom and some Atherton explosions and a couple other things, but they're not here.
Those explosions are kind of cool. I used them on some Civil War stuff. They're neat.
I hadn't seen them before, so they put the cotton on them and stuff, and it really adds to it. So
Did you do the water ones or the land ones? Yeah,
I got the land with water ones would be really cool if they look good.
Yeah, I bought both. They look cool.
He didn't have any at the show that I saw.
I know. All right, Joe. John, you're up next. What's new in your zoo? Anything new since we talked last week?
Yeah, a few things. First of all, I just want to say hi to everybody because everybody's saying hi. Ronald McDonald, Big Boss Jack, Moon Doggy, John Atherton's in. Hey, Johnny. Anybody missing? Ronald McDonald and Mark from Florida. Greetings. Hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, a bit of a busy week. I got my order in from Toy Soldier Company from the Delson. So I told you I'd ordered
Yep.
small set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of the Britain's. Yes, can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Germans. Well, I guess it's the super detail, but well, this says Britain's 1971 made in China. So yeah, it's the different paint scheme. Really, really nice. I also got from eBay seller in Canada a few three actually metal 54 millimeter figures. Here we have Georgy Zukov. This is a U.S. medic, an American medic, and a doctor.
Nice.
So they actually, the size is pretty good. They're not like King and Country huge that they look out of place. Very, very nice, well painted, well maintained. Because I'm not sure of the brand. There's no name underneath, and the seller didn't mention anything in his description. So there's that. And finally, the two pièces de résistance from Jamie's special of the month that was last week. A couple of King and Country.
Wow.
Mannequins. For they were going for $49.50, so I'm not letting them go. There you go.
Nice. Oh, those are nice.
Those are
Yeah.
really cool.
Very, very nice. Beautiful. And they're very, very heavy.
Why don't you show those two little pawns that you had real quick?
Oh yes, and from a seller named Ronnie, I think 8664 from the UK. These two beautiful pawns, resin. One's a no, this is the Desert Oasis.
Yep.
This one. There you go. They're about 9 by 9, 10 by 6, I would say, something like that. Yeah, very nice, handmade, and a fraction of the cost of the JG miniatures, and especially stuff that you can't find. So yeah, they're very, very very, very nice, very, very nice, and they actually go pretty well with the a lot of the 54 millimeter, even the 130, I would say. So yeah, pretty good week, and expecting a few things from Matt Hobby Bunker tomorrow.
Hobby Bunker. Yeah. I get stuff from him all the time. Yeah.
2 more pieces.
Okay, Big Sexy, you're up, man. It's time to show off that smoke machine.
Oh, I'm going to show something before I show that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Take your time. I've got nothing.
Okay. I'll take Stacy's time then.
Yeah, you take my time.
So last week I showed the P40.
Right?
So this week I got a Corsair.
Corsair. Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful.
118.
I love that.
118 scale. That's okay.
That's okay. That's just okay.
Well, I mean, it's not 1/6 scale. It's not.
21st
I
century.
get it.
This is 21st century toys.
Yeah.
And
Does
this is
the
course,
landing gear
Yeah.
fold up and all that stuff? Do the wings fold up?
They used to. They don't anymore.
Oh, they used to. Okay.
That they're too intricate, and the plastic is too.
Yeah.
The
it becomes
landing gear will go up and down though. It's the way
Okay.
it's made. It still
Cool.
works really well. The canopy
cool.
slides real well.
Does the canopy come off like on the engine? Does it actually show the engine, or is it just no?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not,
I was just
it
wondering, 'cause
might,
looks
but I
really
haven't
detailed.
messed around with it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But for anyone who doesn't know about a Corsair,
Okay.
this is the F4U 1A Corsair.
Right. Baba Black Sheep.
Yep.
Had
That's
the-
exactly what I was thinking.
Had a 2,000 horsepower Pratt and Whitney engine, and top cruising speed was about 446 miles per hour. It was one hell of a plane.
Yeah.
This particular plane, number 29, get my finger out of the way. This is Ira Kepford's plane, and Ira Kepford was a Navy pilot, flew in Bougainville, and in 76 days of combat, he scored 16 enemy kills, and was one of the highest aces they had at the end of World War II, I believe. He passed away in 1967 at the age of 67.
Oh.
But he was quite an ace.
Is it propeller turn?
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And they had the engine was so big on this plane that they had to put a monster propeller on it. And that's one of the reasons why the wings are bent, was so that it could get more ground clearance.
Right, because the props and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's true. I'm not. You can check
Yeah,
that.
that's what everybody said, or the history says about the
Yeah.
plane. Because I
But-
watched it too.
Amazing plane, and very
Yeah.
difficult. Supposedly very difficult to fly unless you were really a seasoned flyer because of all the torque in the engine.
Right,
Hmm.
but perfect for the aircraft carriers, though.
Okay, so this one's for Joe. We'll show this for Joe and for the people who didn't get to see it last night. So I do photographs of toys, and I bought myself a fog machine. This is by LensGo. This is the Smoke S model. Smoke S. And I'm going to fire it up, and what I'm going to show is what they call the dry ice mode. You can have a smoke mode and I guess like a fog mode, but there's 3 different modes you can use.
What's the one that has the Cheech and Chong mode? Sorry.
Padre, please.
Sorry.
Padre.
Go ahead.
Starting already.
You know, Paul, you
Go
said
ahead.
he wouldn't be like this tonight. What's
I,
up with this
I
guy?
lied. No.
You know, we got a brand new
Hey Rick,
guest.
hey Rick, I can mute him from here. I
Yeah,
can.
He's
I
out
can
of
be
control.
muted.
This guy's out of control. All right, ready for this? Here we go.
Yeah, and it smokes up pretty quick too as soon as you turn
It
that
does.
thing on, man. It wasn't
Yeah, look at that. It is awesome.
but it'll lay like in your hand, right? It'll lay.
Yeah. It's all about you got to let it lay across the thing and then try not to disturb it. See, I was kind of moving around.
Yeah.
And it just, goes
And
everywhere.
where did you get it and the price again? So everybody knows.
So I bought this off of Amazon. It cost $108. But for the $108, you get all the attachments. If you buy a cheaper one, you don't. It also came with 6 bottles of smoke juice. And
Oh, now I wanted to ask this yesterday. I'm sorry. I didn't ask. Are the bottles refillable or do you have to actually buy just replacement bottles?
no, you have to buy replacement bottles.
Oh, okay.
And you fill the reservoir. This is the reservoir. And
Yeah.
what you're going to need it for if you're taking photographs, you're not going to use a lot of juice. So
Okay.
6 bottles of juice is going to
It'll last
last,
you a long time. Sure.
Yeah,
that is
So-
cool, though.
And if you buy a cheaper model, number one, they're cheap. Some of the reviews said they fall apart. They don't work after a few tries, and they don't come with any smoke juice. So, it justifies the price
Yeah.
to buy the more expensive one. But for what Joe does and what John does with those photographs,
Yeah.
might
Oh,
be
yeah,
able to,
battlefield smoke and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, might be something they could think about. I did learn a tip about shooting with the toys. I was just letting the smoke go and trying to get a shot. And one guy said, keep the smoke behind the figure as opposed to letting it envelop the figure, unless you want it to, but you keep the smoke in the background.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Again, it's new. I'm still playing with it and see if I can get it to work.
What's the name of it again? What's the name of it again?
It's called LensGo, LENSGO. It's one word. LensGo Smoke S.
Yes.
And there's a Smoke S Mini, but it's only like $10 less, and it comes with 1 bottle. It's a little bigger, but only 1 bottle of smoke juice. But it's like half the size of this, so it's easier to handle.
Okay.
And would you recommend that one over, or you like the bigger one? Because
Well, it's funny because I
Right.
thought, I should have got the mini one, but I don't think so. I think for what I want, this is fine.
and how long
Patrick-
have you had that?
I only got it last week.
Okay,
So I've only
yeah,
used it like 3 times for shots.
All right.
Your dry ice will cost $10 each
Yeah.
day you're using it to shoot. So
Yeah, I mean, and this
They'll
smoke
pay for itself
machine
pretty
will
quick.
last you. Those 6 bottles will last you quite a while.
Yeah. Right. Hey, Patrick Grain wants to know where you can see some of your photos, man.
If you're part of Facebook, Patrick, join my group, the Action Figure Playhouse. That's one place to see it. That's where I post all my stuff. You can join, or you can go on Instagram, and I am 60 Pick. And if you can look me up on Instagram, and pretty much, well, no, I shouldn't say that because I've only just started putting pics up, but a lot of my newest stuff is up there.
Well, no wonder I can't find any of your pictures. I typed in sexy pic,
Yeah, it's not sexy.
That's my other Instagram.
Yeah. Okay.
That's OnlyFans. That's his OnlyFans page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stacy, you have to be a member. Okay, you
Yeah.
have to pay.
Yeah.
I pay. I guess I'm paying for the wrong one now.
Nothing's for free.
Okay, funny guy, it's your turn. You got anything
I
for us?
don't have anything. I told you I'm not falling for no banana in the tailpipe. I'm not doing it. I can't.
You want to pick anything behind you and say this is something or
I didn't
nothing?
bring anything new on. I didn't know.
It's not like you don't have any toys there to show. I mean, what the hell?
Well, you see us.
Well, I know, but some of these people on Tuesday
show
nights
them-
don't follow Monday nights, so maybe they.
show them military.
We're gonna show Mr. Paul here. Here's Paul Knapp.
We probably just lost our special guest.
Yep. 3D print in my head. Yeah, I got one
Yeah.
too.
And this is flocked. It has hair.
We need
It's
a
not
Paul.
We're gonna show Rick. Then.
We need Paul in 130
Rick, yours came out a lot nicer than me, man.
Well, I had the jacket custom made.
Oh,
Yeah,
And
that's
if you look at the jacket logo, you'll see it's like what Rick probably has on right
I don't-
now.
Honestly, I don't think I look that old.
Dude, you need to look in the mirror. No.
Oh,
All right.
Patrick Grain said he wants to see that Godzilla behind you. You just posted.
I'll get it done. Then Murray, which guys, this is our 1/6 scale show.
That's Murray Corrigan from Canada. Yep.
Yep. And then myself. And you get two versions of me. This is the flocked version.
You got to make that beard a little grayer.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, but And then this is my.
That's the
if you guys
Padre
watch the
version.
show. This is the Padre version. I did a short clip Padre.
There's the
Padre.
So that was on one of the shows, and then
That looks the best. That looks great. That one.
Well, it wasn't my idea, but Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Here it goes.
Okay, here's the Godzilla. So this is a Takara and Godzilla. Somebody showed up here. So this is what it looks like, and then you get a G.I. Joe that actually fits inside. His hands go into it, and his feet go down. And then when you close them up, there's the ridge. There's the spine, and then the tail comes out. I just didn't hook them up because it takes up so much room.
You got to make a little city for him to stomp
I know.
around.
I know.
I wonder what scale the figures would be to go with him, like the people.
Well,
They'd be
I think
like
about it,
one.
It'd be like it'd be like HO scale, right? Or like,
Yeah, 1/72nd maybe. Little tiny things.
Yeah, because but it was pretty cool. I liked them. They have another version. It's got different Godzilla head and different hands and stuff like that. But
Those are tough to get, aren't they?
they are, yeah. This is they have two different sets of these. This is the numbered one. Then they have an unnumbered one. I don't know the difference in them other than the certificate. That's all I can see. I've seen them both, so I don't know.
Well, gentlemen, it's about that time to bring in our special guest. If we're all done going around the horn, Stacy, for having nothing to say, you had a lot of stuff. You done? Are you done?
You forced me to.
Ken didn't fall asleep yet. I see him in the green room yet. So let's bring him in. This is the owner and operator of LOD Enterprise, Mr. Ken Ciak.
Good evening.
Welcome, Ken.
Thank you.
Sorry, Ken, I don't have an applause button. We all have to clap for you. It's one of our things we got to do here. So first
I
off,
appreciate
thank you
it.
for finally coming on the show, buddy. You're a busy man to track down. I think we've been setting this up a couple months. And
Well, yeah, no, I appreciate it. Appreciate you being patient. I've got twins that are juniors in high school, so they both play sports. And Tuesday night in Northeast Wisconsin is conference basketball night. So one of them was playing every Tuesday, and so I had to wait for the season to end. And we're kind of in between sports seasons, so I was able to jump on.
well, for individuals that may not know you or your company, could you just give them a little quick background, 2-minute synopsis? LOD
Sure.
Toys, where it came from, how long you've been around?
Sure, love to. But while everybody's talking about toys, I was like, here's what I've got in the last couple
Oh, you
weeks. I
can,
don't know if
you
people
can
are-
show your stuff.
I don't know if people remember the Micronauts or like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Micronauts.
Oh yeah,
in the
I had that one.
70s. So
Cool.
Super 7 just came out with a couple of them. They did Baron Karza and they did Biotron in 3 3/4. So here's the new Baron Karza. Sorry, I'm getting used to the camera versus the old. So you've got a little bit of size discrepancy there, but
Yeah.
you know, I like Super 7. They've got their toys are cool. They've got some good licenses and they do some cool stuff out of the ordinary. And then another one that just came in that I pre-ordered, Boss Fight Studio, which is in Massachusetts. I think a lot of them, the design team, and they were with Hasbro for many years. But they just released their Red Sonja.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Oh, I was
So-
debating getting that one.
It's pretty. I mean, I just got it like in the United States. I haven't taken it out of the box. It is coming out of the box. I was able to get it, in Wisconsin. Something to brag about the Big Bad Toy Store is in
Yeah.
Western Wisconsin, and so I know I've gotten a couple of the pre-orders on. I forget which one, but that's the problem with us in the hobby, right? You pre-order stuff, but like I think it was going to be something from Hasbro, maybe in the Marvel line, and they sold out right away. Oh, it was Rom Space Knight. I think they're releasing that,
Yeah.
and Big Bad Toy Store had it like. Because again, the app on Hasbro, it was sold out within an hour or so. So if you weren't there, but
I
hit those
got
other ones up.
I pre-ordered mine through Entertainment Earth. I was surprised.
Okay, yeah,
I was
another good
surprised to
company.
find it available. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know when it's coming. Like I said, it's I think I ordered that Red Sonja probably 4 or 5 months ago, and you just like when it shows up, it's
Yep.
Christmas. Hey, something came in the mail.
All right.
Yes.
We're gonna do this. We can all be in here. All right. So.
So well, thank you for indulging me on that. There's
Oh no,
like
man, that's
everybody
what
here.
this is all
I've
about,
got,
man. Just old guys talking
lots of-
toys, man. That's all it is.
Yeah, and for myself with LOD, last year we celebrated, I guess, our 10th year of being in business. This fall will mark our 10th year of having, I guess it will be the 11th year of having products at the Chicago Toy Soldier Show in Schaumburg. Company started, and like I said, with some of the stuff I've shown, I'm of that generation where I didn't have the Marks play sets. I think I just missed it. I mean, the Guns of Navarone or Iwo Jima were out when I was younger, but I identify as a Star Wars guy, and some of the action figures, Marvel, obviously showed the Micronauts. Off to the corner, I've got a Shogun Warrior that I had probably when I was in the 70s, sold it at a rummage sale, and then reacquired it like we all do many years later for probably a much more than it was put under the Christmas tree for back in the day. But so, what I kind of came around to is whether it be looking at like Military Heritage or Military History magazine. And I think at the time it was Classic Toy Soldiers was still doing full page ads for their products. So this is going back maybe 15, 18 years, print ads. And I'm like, well, that's pretty cool that this stuff still exists. And then, using the internet as my friend, I found Playset magazine. I thought this is really cool. And a lot of those playsets I had no idea about in the background, like their peacetime sets and such, because again, it predates me by a little bit. But I subscribed to the magazine and then started going to the show in Chicago, learned of Ron Barzo because he was, pretty prolific, putting out a set every fall or nearly every fall. And then I started saying, I'm going to try to tie in my passion for one of my favorite books and stories is the Trojan War / Iliad. Numerous copies, far too many. Again, I have all the bad habits of a collector. We could go over all of the Iliads that I have, or I could buy a new one just because it's got a slightly different color. Same translation, but you still got to have it. Anyway, so I was like, gosh, nobody has done anything really on the Bronze Age. 300 came out, and then Conte came out with his Spartans, did that. You can always find more of the more, we'll say, the more modern Greek armor. And so I was like, well, I'd love to have a figure set for the Trojan War, and then realized that maybe I'm the only one. But I, started nosing around, not finding anything, going to Hobby Bunker, going to the CTS website, and so thought it would be pretty cool to kind of create something and see what it was or how it would go about doing it. So I reached out to, and I'll shorten up the story, otherwise I'll just ramble on forever. But I reached out to Ron Barzo, and again, I think he would laugh at this, and I've told this story a handful of times. He's not the most responsive via on an email and stuff. Times a year, he's full-time teacher. He and his wife, they're busy, and he's not focused all the time. So I reached out a couple of times because I just thought he's only 3 hours away from me. Maybe I can pick his brain and see what's going on. And he's a rock star when you go to Schaumburg. And he didn't get back to me. And I even hit up Rusty and Kathy Kern, who are the editors and run Playset Magazine. I said, is that the right email for Ron Barzo? He's not getting back to me. She's like, oh yeah, that's what it is. So then that didn't work. So I said, sight unseen or without knowing them, I reached out to Nick and Deanna Versteeg of Toy Soldiers of San Diego.
Yeah.
I had bought the Romans and the Barbarians playset that they put out, I think, in 2013 or 14. That was one of my first playset purchases after Lexington Green from Barzo, and reached out to Nick. And again, I know he's no longer with us, and nicest guy. I mean, again, we had never spoken. I'd sent him a note. Here's what I'm trying to do. And he's like, oh, well, I'm booked on my own projects for the next couple of years. But here's the people you need to talk to. Here's what the cost will probably be. Here's the factory and all of this. I mean, he sent the most detail. And again, we had never even visited voice to voice. And then that was maybe in the spring of 2014. So I went to the Chicago show. And again, another gentleman that has passed on that was very big in the Toy Soldier revival, if you will, Bill McMaster, who had worked for Toys R Us and his BMC Toys. He was there, and he had a relationship with East Corp Toys, which is in China, the factory, which most of the plastics that are made right now come from. Introduced me to Thomas. And again, as people can appreciate within the hobby, is everybody wants the hobby to grow. They want it to flourish. And so they're willing to help. It's not, at least in my, that anything I've seen in 10 years, it's not cutthroat. They're not trying to, it's not a zero-sum game. Everybody can win. And if more people have products to purchase and there's more eras that are touched upon and that are popular, people, will support and they'll buy it. And so, that's, again, going back, that's 2014 to 2015. And we put together our first our first figure set, which was the War at Troy, an infantry set, did well. Then we did chariots, then we did the heroes. And by then Ron had returned my email and we had struck up a relationship. And he's like, I don't know how much more aggressively I'm going to do this. You've got the energy. So I purchased the molds for the plastic sets that he done that were at the same factory. So our Robin Hood set, the Sheriff's Men, the British Grenadiers, and the Colonial Minutemen from his Lexington Green set, and then also from his Robin Hood play set. We started running those in plastic, and that was probably 2016, 2017. At the same time, I was trying to come out with new plastic sets related to the War at Troy. But we branched off. We did a Christmas set. We have since done the Headless Horseman. And then in 2019, Ron and I were just talking, and he was looking to completely get out of the business as far as creating new and just doing the functional aspect of the organization, right? Putting out the sets, marketing them, selling them, just fulfilling orders. So we purchased Barzo play sets. I guess it was effective September of 2019, a few months before the pandemic. And that opened us up to all the molds. So we've been running the pieces ever since. I heard John mention that John Atherton's on the phone. John, great partner. We did a ton of business the first handful of years in the pandemic. It kind of kept both of us going because we were able to get those pieces back out to the public and bring stuff that, when I start to think about it, Ron's first sets came out in 94, 95. We're still reintroducing figure sets for the foam for the most part. We got most of that out. I mean, there's still a few pieces here and there, but I mean, we're probably only about halfway through the resin molds. It's a catalog that doesn't stop. I got to give it, since we're giving shout outs, or I'm giving shout outs to people that make it go, Len Hart and Rusty Kern, along with many, many others. I know Joe's stuff is in that book. That's my Barzo Bible. It's blasphemous, but I rely on that because people will ask, and I'm like, well, shoot, that came out 10, 12 years before I even ever heard of Barzo. So I'm using that all the time as a guide. And Ron, with the sale, turned over a lot of paperwork and, mold numbers and this and that. But that is very helpful as far as putting out product. And it's a lot of fun. Some of the stuff I'm seeing for the first time in person when we run it, a box of resin shows up at the house. My wife, who's in Florida with my daughter right now for softball, so I can only give her kudos from afar. She trims a lot of the resin pieces. We piece out the sets and bag them up, and then they go out. And it's been fun because, like I said, we're seeing a lot of these. No, she's not excited to see the new pieces as I am. But when I send the pieces out, like I said, oftentimes I'm seeing them for the first time, or maybe I've seen a picture on, on eBay, or if Joe's done some photos of them, I'll get a glimpse. But to see them and hold them in my hand for the first time, we're still doing that. So that's the fun aspect. It's all fun, but that's a fun aspect of the business.
Can you read that first question from the chat room, or is that?
Oh
on
yeah,
on your screen? Can you read it?
yeah.
I would like to. I don't know. Can you answer that, or
Yeah,
is it illegal to answer that, or is it?
No, well, it's not illegal. It's now there's two. There's we have both two types of figures. We have the plastic, which with the injection molding, which is done in the factory in China. Those molds are much more expensive. You have to have a big run, and you have to move a lot of product to offset that investment. I would say a mold at our factory is probably it's in the neighborhood of 13 to 1600 a pose.
A pose.
So
Wow.
yeah, that's for each pose. So I mean, so if you're looking at a set of 8 poses, you're probably looking at $10,000 to $12,000. I think that's a good starting point, and that I'm not saying that's on the low end, but I mean that's right in the market for.
So anytime you come out with a new figure, I mean, do you have an idea in mind, obviously, and then you just get you work with a certain artist to sculpt it?
Yep, I have. Yeah, I have the same sculptor has done all of the War at Troy sets. She also did our the cavalry sets that we've done for the Rev War, and she's done our basically she's done everything that we've done. And she's done some stuff where we've done offshoots. We did Maid Marian to kind of accompany some poses that Ron had done that he didn't print, but he had the sculptures done.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you're gonna pay your artist or your sculptor as well.
Sure.
And then it goes off to the factory and to do it. So then you have to make sure you have a number in mind, or sets that you can move to help to offset the investment.
You said the resin molds, you guys are making them in house, right? Or no?
The resin molds are done stateside. We work with a company by the name of Fortress Figures. They're in Indiana, a little bit north of Indianapolis. They've had the Barzo molds forever. They are the original ones, and so they control those. Those molds are less expensive. When I say break down, I mean you have to run a lot to have them break down, but they may break down a little bit more frequently than the steel molds that are used for the plastics figures. But then to redo the mold, it isn't nearly as expensive. That's a much more economical. So with a lot of Ron's pieces, he has a lot of character figures, and that was something both Nick and Ron taught me early on. He's like, character figures are great, but everybody only needs one. And he's like, but those are cool poses. I mean, you need to have a ton of guys for a firing line. You have archers. You can have infantry. You get people marching, but you really only need one general, or in my case, you only need one Achilles or one Hector. So if we can do those in resin, it's a lower. It's more economical, because am I going to find 5,000 people that want Achilles? I'll try. It's not 1962 under the Christmas tree with Richard Marx, or Louis Marx. Excuse me, Richard Marx is the singer. With Louis Marx.
Carl Marx. Yeah.
What about when you send the figures off to China, we'll say, to get done? Does it make a difference on detail for cost for you, or length of time maybe for getting it done? That may change, but does it make a difference? They charge you like one figure may be more detailed in the face than the other. Will it make a difference in cost, or they don't care?
They don't seem to care, no. And with my entry point when I started in the industry, my sculptor, who was an artist, she had never done any miniatures or toy figures at all, and I actually met her at a jewelry art show in Green Bay, and just like straight up cold calls, just walking aisles there, and just asked if she had any interest, because she had a lot of whimsical art, fairies and elves and different things, and I just asked her. And so she does everything on the computer. She sculpts, designs everything on the computer. So we're sending e-files to both places, to China. So the days of for a lot of it where you had it and you make that figure and you're going to send it snail mail across the ocean, we don't do that. She'll print off models in the 3D printing, and it's interesting. The detail is getting greater. Joe mentioned Mike and Warhorse Miniatures, and there's others out there that are doing a great job. So she'll send me the 3D prints, and we'll look at them. But there is greater detail once you do create the mold and then run it through.
But so after you get it done, we'll say it's injection molded over there. That's what theirs is. So who owns the molds? They do.
No, I own them, but they have them.
Yeah. So they can't print them from anybody else now, though, right? That's only your stuff.
Right.
Okay. Good. That's good.
Yep.
Yeah. So then you can just print more until the mold starts breaking down, and then plus pay your cost, whatever. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Exactly. We do stuff like that too. So for GI Joe, so I was just wondering if it's the same way.
Yeah. Yep.
Any other questions from Joe? I know you got questions, man. Joe heard you were going to be on tonight, and he's like, "I want to be on. I got to be on the panel tonight." So
You're answering most of my questions because I just love people's creativity and actually getting things done. And since the day you came in, you've gotten things done, and
yeah,
it's just been really cool. It was really cool living in Green Bay with you for many years. So that was
I
very
appreciate that. No, thank you. And along those lines, and I appreciate that. And there's so many creative people out there, and it's been fun to work with it. And again, as we get older, we get more territorial. It's really almost everything happens design-wise in the Midwest. Not that there isn't a ton of talent on the coast and other parts of the country, but our sculptors in Rockford, Illinois. If we do something new in foam from a design standpoint, I mean, John's in Michigan, and he ran all that stuff. I mentioned Fortress Figures, who runs all the resin sets there in Indiana. If we do create new foam pieces, I usually lean on Jim Klaus, who did most of the Barzo buildings or ran, did almost all the Barzo buildings for the last, 15, 18 years of the business, really only, So, yeah, it's just been fun. But I mean, there are talented people everywhere. I mean, even when I started this story with, Nick and Deanna offering all that free advice, and I talked to Nick so much in that first 6 to 8 months, and just on the timelines and such. I mean, when we do want to do a new set, and again, we as LOD, we're looking towards September as the time to introduce the product, because we wanted it at the Chicago Toy Soldier Show. We have to have the initial design work to the factory in early December, so they can review, have their engineers do it, start working on the molds, because they're going to they have Chinese New Year for the 2 weeks in early February, and then we're hoping to go into production mode shortly thereafter. And then you want to give yourself enough time to have it come across the ocean, clear customs, and get to you. So I mean, you get that solid timeline with them, and that's kind of it. If you miss that, you can kind of push, but in the end, you'll be late, and you don't want to have, it's not happened to. I think it happened one time with us where we had to have like 6 boxes air shipped over, so it'd be there in Chicago. That's an expensive error. and one you don't want, and then your couple pallets show up well after the fact. I mean, it is what it is. But so yeah, you try to work with them on that, and then have it all structured. Again, a little bit more flexibility with the foam and the resin, because that's stateside, and we can kind of push, and we're doing smaller numbers. One thing I will say with the Barzo stuff, with the Barzo figure sets and the resin, we aren't intentionally trying to create scarcity with it. But we do smaller runs, and I usually run things by color. So if we go blue, red, green, maple wood, brown, then a tan, and then and gray, and then just kind of go again. We'll maybe run 60 to 75 sets of each figure, and depending on if it's something that David Cook or Toy Soldier Company or Matt Murphy, if they want, they buy 15 to 18 of them, they get them, and then we're out. And some people are, gosh, I missed them on your website, and it's like, we're not trying to intentionally do that. But I got to keep, we just got to keep rotating colors around. So we've created some scarcity, but not intentionally so. But at the same time, I don't want to flood the market. I don't need to have 3,000 Daniel Boones in my basement.
Sure. Patrick Grain got another question. How long does a mold last?
The plastic, or the steel molds that do the plastic, we're still on our first one, so at 10 years. But again, being realistic, we're not running Star Wars figures or even G.I. Joe at that volume. I mean, so we've run through our War at Troy set. I think we've run them 6 or 7 times over the last decade, and so they last. Now on the resin, we've replaced some of the popular ones, or refreshed those molds. I don't know if that's, again, for myself, I don't know if it's because we've run it so much, or it's just length of time. I mean, if you go back to, again, the original Rogers Rangers or Last of the Mohicans, those sets came out in 95 to 97. And, I don't know how many times Ron ran them per se, or say from 98 to 2018. So that just could be, they just kind of, I don't want to say they get stale, but maybe they do a little bit. But like I said, we start to notice. My wife and I kind of joke, if the figures start to show up kind of like what's like the Ghost Army in the Lord of the Rings series, I'm like, those look pretty cool, but I can't send those to people. So when they start to get they get like patchy in the face and there's holes, then we'll replace the molds. And it's amazing how there's a lot of figures out there that and the Barzo ones that they look good, but then when you redo that mold, it's noticeable. So yeah, we find ourselves, been refreshing more of the Barzo molds more recently, just because we want to put out a really strong product, and this stuff isn't inexpensive. So people are paying for quality. We want to give it to them.
Was there anything from Barzo you didn't get, or did he give you everything?
Oh yeah, we know we got everything.
You got everything? Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul's saying about 20 grand to start just a line of 8 figures, probably.
I think that's fair. I mean, you still have to
get the artist to sculpt it, and
I think 20 grand gets you 8 figures. Then you have to produce them. Now that's also, there's a difference, and again, I'm not spilling trade secrets, or I don't care, right? If I say it, it's what it is. The cost per figure in China through that is less than what we get charged for resin, but it's offset by the mold cost too. So the molds are significantly lower on the resin side than they are with the steel molds for the injection.
Shipping.
Oh yeah, and the shipping, yeah.
So who does your foam injection stuff? You said that's done in the United States, the foam?
That's right now we've got IO Labs, which is also in Michigan, that has the molds for that.
And you just send them the Barzo, whatever, the bridge, the house, or whatever, and you say I want 10 of those, and they just pump them out.
Yeah. They have the molds. I mean, and John Atherton can speak to this at Formtech, because he had them. He helped to create the vast majority, if not all, of the molds for them. And so we
so they're not rubber molds, they're metal, or
what that
the foam ones, they're rubber molds, or they're
they're not inject. I mean, so those will break down, and John, if he's still in there, wants to comment, he's fixed a lot. He fixed a lot of them for us over time, because we would run those pieces, and it's we do a lot of drop shipping now. It's that I don't keep as much. I keep some of the smaller stuff, a small amount of inventory, but we will drop ship. So if someone puts in an order for Fort William Henry or the Nottingham Castle, those are big pieces. I mean, some of those are 2 good sized boxes to ship, and then we'll send an order over to IO Labs to have them drop ship it, and then they send it off from there. And so I probably need to update some of the product specs on the website, but most of them I say ask for a 2 to 3 week turnaround on that, because it's they're running the stuff for us on a regular basis. But again, Fortress, as the resins, well, any of the factories that we work, they're not LOD factories. We're not that big. They'd be nice if they were, but they've got other customers, and I think we're important to them. We do a good job of keeping them busy, but they have other masters to serve as well. So
cool.
So it's not an immediate turnaround on everything.
Yeah. When's your next show that you're attending? You said you didn't. You missed the last one last weekend.
Yep, I will be in Chicago in September.
Chicago.
I mean, I think Gettysburg is early May. I'll be somewhere watching my son play lacrosse. It's just, yeah.
Okay.
But I'll definitely be at Chicago. We do Chicago, and that's been more challenging. Again, all for the right reasons. My son plays football, so you got Friday night lights. So last year we got up first thing in the morning and drove down and got to room trading for maybe an hour, but then we're there for the show on Sunday.
Yeah,
that's the trade-off. It's fun. The room trading is fun. It's great to see old friends and new friends, and just be around people that are enthusiastic and love the hobby. It's a great show, and I'm glad that these shows that people are working hard to keep them going. I know Matt Murphy kept the West Coaster going.
Yeah.
It sounds like the Midwest show was a good show. Maybe a little. I mean, it's always tough with attendance, right? I mean, you could say it's a lower attendance, but I'll speak from the seller standpoint. If you got a lot of people that really want to buy, and again, if you're just seeing the people that are in the hobby, I mean, we're always thinking, how can we try to find younger people that would like to get in and become passionate about, first, I think, history, but then also, with the toys and the miniatures. That's what, I mean, I think that's important to get that next generation in, and how you do it. I mean, it's hard. We've got some starter sets. We do some firing line sets that I think have, attractive entry points, $10 to $12. You can get 10 to 12 figures with a handful of poses. Hopefully it turns off. I mean, I do find, we see this at the holidays. I get more than a handful or a number of emails and calls from people that are buying stuff for their grandkids, or they want something under the tree. And that's neat. That's what it's all about, right? I mean, a lot of what we're not in the hobby, but it brings us back to is a level of nostalgia. I mean, you remember what it was like when you got it, and so you want to pass that along, or you feel that joy of acquiring it, or again, whether it be a child or a grandchild, to hopefully they see that same joy, and that it plays off of that memory. That's the reason why I bought Baron cars 47 years later. It brings you back to where you felt that the first time you got it, right? I mean,
Sure,
I
yeah,
got my
right.
Star Wars figures up there. That takes me back to 77. So.
Yep. Got another question from Patrick. Anything new coming out that you can talk about, or is it still a secret? Or
Well, it's not so much it's a secret. Part of it is I've learned is you want to make sure you can deliver on it when it's done, and there are some things. I mean, again, all the partners have been great. It's just do the timelines work? One thing that we are going to come out with, it'll be a resin set. So once we're done with the sculpts and get them going, we'll be able to turn it around fairly quickly. I was in Savannah, Georgia, 2 years ago for a conference, and there's a great statue in one of the many parks. I mean, Savannah is a historic town, and there was the Haitian militia, and there was like 8 statues, and all in different poses. They had a drummer, they had the leader, and then they had a wounded soldier, and then they had multiple people in firing posts. I'm like, that's really cool, and they're good poses. So doing what a tourist does, I got my phone out, snapped a bunch of pictures, and shared it with the sculpture, and we started doing some research. So we are going to come out with the Haitian militia. Should be ready for the fall. Like I said, it's a unique set, and then it gets back to that one won't be injection molded. That in plastic, we'll do it in resin. But one of the things and I think all the artists hopefully feel this way, and the sculptors, is my sculptor is continually trying to refine her craft and work on things. She's watching YouTube stuff, and again, she's an artist by trade. Went to school for dentistry, so she's got her hands and such are she's a lot more intricate than I could probably ever be. I think of myself as an idea person. So she's continually working on how do I further enhance the poses and and their uniforms, hitting on all the details and showing emotion in the face. I mean, I think if you look at our figures, at least I hope people feel this way, from the first set we did in 2015, which they still stand up and they're still popular. But you look where we are now. I mean, each year we try to get a little better with how you do it, and that comes with experience and trial and error and learning and working on things. So we've got that set coming out. Another one that we did a soft release on. I mean, they're on the site, and our vendor partners are selling it. We are a producer. We've gotten into the movies for an independent film that's coming out by the name of another Plan from Outer Space 2, The Doomed. And so we have oh gosh, I'm sorry, I'm screwing up on the camera. This is actually one of the molds that they use for the resin of the space alien that's with it. Here is an android that doesn't look like a typical android. Gotta reverse what I'm doing. And then we've got some space marines that go with it. That set, we've got the aliens have 4 poses, and we have 8 poses on the space marine side. So we've got five marines fighting. We've got the android in a fighting position, and then another one where she's pointing, and then we have kind of the billionaire that funds the whole deal that goes haywire as those sets. And they've done pretty well. Like I said, the movie's not out yet. They're still going through the final edits and stuff, and adding whatever you do to make a movie ready to go. But hopefully we have that should be out here in the next 3-4 months, and then and see where that takes us. So that's been kind of fun to see the other side of it, because
yeah. So when you want to come up with a new set like that, like say the militia that you were just talking about, you don't really have to get permission, because that was a history thing, right? I mean, that was just, you're not making a specific person, that you're just being generic. If you're generic enough, you don't have to get permission, right?
Correct.
So if you wanted to make, say, a set of the Planet of the Apes, you'd be in trouble, like, right? Or no? Could you?
Oh yeah, I mean they're not in the public domain, so I mean they could. Yeah, I mean I think you run that risk. I think we've seen there are some companies from Eastern Europe that have, to me, they're taking liberties, but that's just because we're in the United States and we know that people are litigious. I mean, if nobody would come after me, I would have stormtroopers, definitely. Well, who wouldn't want to make Star Wars guys?
Yeah,
if you could, but
they're
Disney doesn't want me to.
Yeah.
What scale are you going to do the militia in? The Barzo size, or closer to the Trojan size?
I think Barzo size. I think I want to do him Barzo size. I think he's got more sets that kind of relate to that. So yeah.
Now,
I'm
when
not
you do the
familiar.
3D printing, do you do that yourself, or do you have
No.
somebody that does it? You have
My
somebody that
sculptor
does
does it.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, and do they print more than one figure at a time, and do they use high speed resin or just regular resin, or what do you know?
She's got, shoot, I think she's got 3 or 4 printers. She'll be running a few at a time. I mean, I think because when she's starting to do some of these smaller ones for us, so taking our existing sculpts, she's running. I think she said she can do like 8 to 12 poses at one. Now these are the 28 millimeter, but yeah, she usually was running multiples
Right, and
at
then
one time.
maybe high speed resin too, because that cuts down on time a lot. If you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
usually worth it. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah. She sent. Yeah. That's another. Treat of being it. When I get a box coming from her, I'm like, oh, there's gonna be some fun stuff in there, and I'll
Do
show
you
you. I'll
guys
get them
paint
for the
them
second
after
one.
you're done? After you get them all cured, do you paint them, or you just leave them all gray and then sell them that way?
We don't. The ones that are 3D printed, we don't really. We don't sell those.
Oh, okay.
Those are just the models. So I mean, I've got those, but I know I am going to be getting some. There's a gentleman in town. That is he's a gamer, and he's done all the painting for me over the last 10 years. I mean, and he's and so I gave him some of our 3D printed of our Christmas sets, and we ran them in the elves and 3 3/4 and Santas. Then therefore he's a little over 6 inches, and he's painting those. I think they paint up fine. I mean, here's one. The sphere broke, but when this kind of it ties in together, Paul, what you asked.
Oh,
Mordred from Excalibur.
Oh wow!
Cool.
And so
Can you
I
bring
think
it a
she did
little
great-
closer to your camera? Can you
yeah,
bring
a
like
little closer to
straight
the
forward?
camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
there you go. Beautiful. Oh, that's very
Actually,
nice.
hang on. I bring you up even bigger here.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think he turned out really well,
Wow.
and
That's
he's
amazing.
painted.
Yeah, very
but
nice.
my sculptor was willing to do it, but we do not have a license to sell it, so we've not sold any of them.
Sure.
But I'd love to. I mean, because then we could tie in medieval knights and different things, and then that gets you where you can just do whatever you want. We could basically do everybody that supported him in Excalibur, but with him, I think that he's a popular. Here's a bigger one. This is a 3D print in 6 inches.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's nice.
Kill in the face. Yeah, beautiful.
So, and then she also ran one where he's just wearing. See, this is smaller.
So if you brought that figure out and didn't call it Excalibur, you could do it, right? Or no? You have to change something.
It's possible.
I think we could probably,
it's possible,
within the
right?
hobby, somebody probably wouldn't be. I think it's Universal has the rights to Excalibur. They probably wouldn't notice, but
Yeah.
it's not.
They just probably warn you with a cease and desist, though.
Right. So here he is with when he doesn't have helmet on, just with the chainmail.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna practice Paul next time so I don't butcher myself on the camera again.
If you hold it
should've done
straight
that.
out from your face, that's literally where the camera.
Yeah, if you hold it right in front of you, directly in front of you,
right in front of your face. Yep.
There you go.
Just go. Yep. Keep coming closer. You got it,
There you
man.
go.
That's
All
it.
right, now that's all I needed. I needed that hint. I should have. Yes, common sense, but you're like. Ah. So yeah, here's the big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. That's awesome.
Wow, that's really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is awesome.
So I have asked, and again, it's not something I'm hanging on, but the director I'm working with on the space set, I'm like, hey, do you have any contacts? You're in Hollywood. Can we do this? But yeah, so we'll try. But I mean, those are kind of some of the fun things that
Yeah.
you get to kind of. I mean, that's something that's nice here. I was visiting with someone last night that works and also does business in China just for what his job is, and he's like, yeah, you get to have you can have like the passion play, and then as long as the revenue's coming in, and I'm certainly just as passionate about the Barzo stuff, but I mean they're consistent sellers. It's very popular. Ron didn't flood the market with stuff. I mean, that's something I've learned through the acquisition is that, and Joe, you can speak to this as well because you've known him for a long time. I mean, maybe 250, 300 sets on some of those. So it's not like there are an unlimited amount of the Shores of Tripoli walls out there. There aren't. So there is a demand for them because I was on the phone with a customer today, and when the Zorro playset came out, I think he was maybe doing the Daniel Boone set. Maybe 2 came out right around the same time, or maybe at the same Chicago show he had, and that would have been, maybe early 2000s. And he's like, I didn't get the Zorro set because I got the other one, and then suddenly they're just not available. They're available on the secondary market at high prices. So as part of when we made the purchase from Ron, even though we weren't necessarily looking out for the secondary market and protecting their interests so much, I did say we wouldn't put out play sets. So you could piece together over time everything that went into one, but we're not going to suddenly say, okay, now here's 200 more Last Mohican sets. You can get the character figures, you can get the pieces, the accessories, and the foam pieces over time.
So you're not remaking any of the boxes then?
Nope.
So no cardboard boxes, just the stuff that was in it. Yeah.
Just the stuff that was in it, exactly.
Okay. Well, I mean that still keeps the hobby alive without taking away from the original, limited run of Barzo stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and again, the stuff's being made with the same people, the same creative people, and the same great, producers of product. Like I said, what John Atherton made for him, 30 years ago when it started, he was running that stuff, as recently as last year before. So that's what I tell there's not been a lot of pushback. There's been a couple of collectors that have gone on page. It's been a few years where they were going on, you can't get this, you can't get that. And I'm like, but it's being made in the same place. I'm like, I should just put Ron in as like de facto president of LOD, and then they'd be happy. It's like, it's still, you're getting it. I mean, I got his blessing, and we gave him money to do the same stuff. And you got the same people making it. I mean, if it's, so, I mean, but again, that's been far and few between. It's been wonderful. Like I said, the hobby's great. People want success. They want to be able to get stuff that they remember, or they just think is cool. Sure. It's fun to make it and give them an opportunity to do so.
Yeah. John, you've been awful quiet, man. You just soaking all this in? Or
I'm just listening and soaking it all in. I just wanted to ask, regarding the Last of the Mohicans, is the mountain piece, the backdrop, is that do you have that? Do you guys make that or not?
That's one yet. No, you're right. We've not made it, but it's not. There's no. Sorry, my cat's on the desk. We've not made it, but it's not been an unintentional or something that we didn't want to do. It just we haven't got to it.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Okay. And last question, because I was really quiet. the two little walls for the Shores of Tripoli set. Do you still have those? Are they still being made?
The two really small ones?
Yeah, the two. Well, yeah, it's instead of two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right, I'll be in touch.
It's like everything from Shores of Tripoli on the foam, all the pieces, the big walls, the guardhouse, the two guardhouses, and the small wall ruins available.
All right, awesome, fantastic.
I think it's wonderful you've made it possible to get the foam pieces because they work so well with your, you dream up your own setups and things.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's what I think. That's the beauty of people talk about creativity. I mean, that's the only thing that limits you is your imagination. I mean, make the stuff available and let you do with it what you want, or set it up how you see fit. So yeah, and a lot. What was nice a lot about Ron's stuff, that all that foam is it can cross a lot of eras as well. It can be European. It can be in the early Americas. I mean, that's where he focused. So I think that stuff really works well.
Yeah. Well, we're almost at the top of the hour, dude, but I could do another whole hour with you, man. No doubt.
Happy to. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff where you can continue to touch on.
Well, we're definitely got to have you back, man. So, but before I let you go, I got to ask you a couple personal questions, okay?
All right. And
it's not about when you lost your virginity or anything like that. We won't go there.
What about what? You said you were going to ask. Okay.
No, not this time. No, we got a pastor in the house. I can't do that.
Oh,
sorry. So, hey, give us one good childhood memory of you with your toys. Doesn't have to be Army men or maybe Micronauts. Maybe a favorite Christmas, birthday, playing with some neighbor kids. Give us one good story, man.
Oh yeah, well, I got plenty.
Memory.
No, I got plenty. I read the reverse of it, like on a Facebook page. So yeah, I mentioned the Micronauts, how I like the Micronauts, but I'm also a Star Wars guy. There was one Christmas, it probably would have been 79-ish, because Star Wars would have had plenty of stuff out. I know it was before Empire Strikes Back. And so you're like, oh, downstairs, and you're like, gosh, there's all this stuff but I was like, I'm going to get all of the Micronaut sets, and the boxes seemed perfect. And then I opened them up, and it was a Star Wars after Star Wars after Star Wars. I'm like, man, I'm never going to get the Photon sled. So if you're a Mike and Up fan, you'll remember that one. So then we started going on an epic chase for the Photon sled. And I lived in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So the closest Toys R Us was probably Milwaukee. And like Stevens Point didn't even have a mall. So, I mean, you're not looking at KB, you're not looking at the mall stores. And I'm like, gosh, we can never find the Photon sled. It wasn't showing up at. So my mom's like, man, you got this epic chase for this toy. And again, that's back then fun when you're hunting and everything. You go to, what is it, Ben Franklin, or you go to Woolworths. They've all got toy
Sure, yeah,
areas,
yeah.
and you're trying to find them. So I think finally we're on vacation out to see my grandparents in Western Massachusetts, and we come to a toy store in a mall, and there's a Photon sled. And I'm like, nah, I don't need it now. He's like, we've gone everywhere. Your dad's going on business trips for it. I'm like, it was the thrill of the hunt. Now we found it. I wouldn't let that happen a second time. Now I'd have the Photon sleds up there again, acquired for a lot more than it cost in 1979 in the box.
Right.
But I'm glad to have it. My mom just laughed and rolled her eyes when I told her that. But no, one that brings me back, and and we had the question about the Godzilla or a Godzilla. I always say one of my favorite memories, and I don't know, maybe just because with Christmas and such. So this is probably 76 or 77. So the Shogun Warriors are out. So is Godzilla. My mom worked at Joe will know this story, being in the Midwest, and Shopko. She worked at Shopko Stores, which was a great department store at Wisconsin based, but I mean, it was like a Target in Kmart. And she worked there, and we had one car, so we're picking her up after she's done with the Christmas shift at 11 o'clock or whatever. They've closed the store for the night, and she's walking out. She looked like she was dead tired, and she's carrying these two boxes on her, but they're like wrapped in, not wrapping paper, but in paper. And she just looked so tired. And I'm like, gosh, that's great. She's working hard for us. And then we go home. And then when we got opened up presents under the tree, the Shogun Warriors and Godzilla both came in like those 2-foot boxes because they're 2-foot figures. And I'm like, my mom was walking out of Shopko with them, and she looked like she was going to fall asleep, but she made sure Santa put those two toys under the tree for me. So
That's cool,
that was
man.
pretty cool.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Wow.
Good memory.
Nice to have.
Yeah, good memory. So no, lots of stuff. I mean, yeah, it's just fun. And I mentioned being able to play it, but I remember one friend, they had the Mark's Battleground set. You go over there and it's like, God, open up that big box, all of the figures there. And again, I had kids in the neighborhood had the Guns of Navarone and Iwo Jima. So I mean, that stuff was still out there, and you really thought it was cool. I mean, Fort Apache, I think there was a Fort Apache set that was certainly on the shelves at the Kmart's and Shopko's in the late 70s. So all good stuff, because it brings you back to those times. I mean, that's part of it. And so when you're able to recapture that moment, that's what it's about. Or that's a big part of what it's about, in my opinion.
Nice. Joe, John, you guys, one last question. Anybody? Nothing?
I do.
Yeah, go for it.
Any chance of the foam buildings from the Road to Stalingrad set that he did in conjunction with the SSD coming out?
That's a good question. I've talked to David Cook about like the accessory pieces, because we have all the molds for the accessory pieces, and be happy to do something to run them and let McSean's Closet has it, because he has the figures, because those are TSSD figures. Right. It's a good question on the phone though. I don't know if those are mine or if they're David's.
They should.
I guess we should investigate.
Yeah, yeah. I thought the pieces were Barzo pieces, and I mean, and the soldiers were the TSSD.
That would make sense.
That's what I was told, but well, yeah, because
we've never run them. I mean, that's maybe we can circle back with John Atherton, because he was one running them, and the molds. Those are some molds that he and I never, over the last 5 years, we just didn't pull those out.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably because we didn't have any figures, and also, like I said, it's been a couple of years, and because everybody just gets busy. I did talk to David Cook about the accessory pieces, and if he would want them, because there's some cool stuff that and again, those are with Fortress figures. So they control all those molds. We haven't run them, but if David would want to do something, or if McSean's wanted to do something, because I think his Germans are one of his from that set are probably some of his most popular.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Really good. Yeah, definitely.
I think he sells those every day on to someone.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Ken, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. Hopefully you can come back again sometime in the near future.
Anytime.
All right. Sounds good. And next week for Toy Soldier Tuesday, we have John Sanheim on. He is a 1/32 scale flag maker. He makes all the flags, and he sells them from all different eras, and it shows you how to fold them and how he makes them all, and I'm going to be adding 2 or 4 of those to my sets for the Gettysburg Toy Soldier show coming up. So, guys, hopefully you can join us next week for Toy Soldier Tuesday. But once again, Ken, I want to thank you
Thank
for
you,
coming
Ken.
on. And
Hey,
Ken,
yeah,
you're
thanks,
welcome
everybody. Good
to
visiting
come
with you.
anytime and be a
Good to
panel
see you.
member, so
Yeah.
I can leave. Replace me.
we're trying to get rid of these 2 guys up top, but I got to find, guys who can regularly come on a Tuesday. So far, we got John definitely locked in, but,
I'll join when I'd be happy to join when I can.
right.
Like I said, I'll check the softball and lacrosse schedule. So
You're a busy guy, man. So
it's fun. Yeah,
All right.
appreciate it.
everybody, guys, have a good week and see you next Tuesday.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, Kenny.
Good night, everybody.
Good evening.